You are Locked On Syracuse, your daily podcast on the Syracuse Orange. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
So I think linebacker could be a position of interest for Syracuse football. They've added 2 inside linebackers this offseason. Fran Brown Jr., obviously the son of Fran Brown from St. Francis, and Gary Bryant from South Dakota. However, when I examine the roster and all the position groups, I would not consider linebacker as of right now a position of strength. And keep in mind that Syracuse is trying to replace not 1, but 2 all-conference players who were at linebacker last season. You got Marlo Wax and you got Justin Barron, who are both in the National Football League now. Pretty sure you've heard of the National Football League. Those are where the best players go after college. So those are pretty good players, the fact that they're in the National Football League, and Syracuse is trying to replace them. Right now, the top 3 linebackers, or I should say inside linebackers for Syracuse football next season, appear to be some veterans. You got Derek McDonald, Anwar Sparrow, and then there's also Gary Bryant. Plus, you got a true freshman in Antoine Delorier, who could see significant playing time as a true freshman. My thoughts on this unit are this. Number 1, I guess, is a positive, right? There is a foundation of starting experience in that linebacking unit. It's not a unit that necessarily lacks experience, right? Derek McDonald, he's played in 37 games for Syracuse football in his career, and he has started 26 of them, including 7 starts this past season. Anwar Sparrow, he's played in 40 games for Syracuse football, and he has made 4 career starts. One of them was last season, and that came against Stanford. So it's not like Syracuse has no experience at the linebacker spot. We'll talk about how the cornerback room is essentially the opposite, where they really do lack experience at cornerback. But my other thought is someone's got to step up in that inside linebacking unit. It's part of the reason why I think that maybe they should add 1 more inside linebacker if they can in the transfer portal, because the other linebackers, aside from the guys that we just mentioned, Derek McDonald and Anwar Sparrow, are Delorier and Bryant. Bryant is coming from an FCS school. FCS is a lot different than FBS. For those that don't quite understand, Syracuse plays in the FBS. That's where all the top colleges in college football play. So basically all the schools that you've heard of, like the Alabamas and the Georgias and the Floridas and the Ohio States, and even in the ACC, right? That's FBS football. Then there's FCS, that is a step below. Think of it like Division I basketball, high major versus Division I basketball, mid-major, right? Think of it like that. And FCS, it's just different. It's a different animal going from FCS to FBS. And Delorier is a true freshman. Now, I'm not saying all this stuff to say, hey, I don't think Antoine Delorier is going to be good, or that Gary Bryant coming from South Dakota is not going to be good for Syracuse football, because I can't really make a judgment on that. But that's, I guess, the point. You can't really make a judgment on either of those 2 players because they have not proven anything at the FBS level. So the big question with them is this: can at least one of those 2 players step up and be quality inside linebackers next season? Because look, let's do the breakdown here, all right? You already got Derek McDonald and Anwar Sparrow, but there's a clear ceiling with those guys. If both of the linebackers, Antoine Delorier and Gary Bryant, are good, well, then suddenly inside linebacker is a strength for Syracuse football. If at least one of them pans out right away in 2025, then I would say the linebacker unit at least is average. It'll at least be serviceable for this upcoming season. But if neither of them are able to elevate to that FBS power conference football level, all of a sudden inside linebacker is a weakness for Syracuse football. So overall, I think it would be ideal if Syracuse could add one more inside linebacker with one of its open scholarships remaining. That being said, I scoured through 24/7 Sports transfer portal, top players overall available. There aren't really any inside linebackers left. There just isn't. Now, you could get someone from a different position and try to convert him. That's not unheard of. I mean, Justin Barron was doing that this past season. So maybe that's a route that Syracuse could go. But obviously, at this point, not necessarily ideal that there aren't any true, real inside linebackers available at this point.